Hey guys, it is the beginning of the month, and that means this month's Artsnacks box has shown up. This is the September 2018 Artsnacks box, and this one actually took only like 2 days to get to me. Between the time I got the email saying it was shipped and the email saying it was delivered, it was only 2 days, which was very exciting because I didn't expect it for another several days. Artsnacks boxes, they do tend to show up pretty quickly, for me at least. I normally get them within like 3 to 4 days of them shipping, but this time they showed up like super fast, which is not a bad thing by any means. So as soon as I opened this box, I was very surprised with how many things were inside. It was like packed to the brim of a bunch of different materials, so that was awesome. I actually went through. It comes with a little piece of paper that tells you the retail prices as well as like what the products are and a description of them. I went through and I added them up, and overall this box contains about $33 or $34 worth of stuff inside, which is really cool because that's a lot of bang for your buck, because normally Artsnacks boxes, they come with like a couple dollars more than what's inside of them from the times I have actually counted that up. And this time it was quite a bit more because I believe Artsnacks boxes are $24, $25 a month. So this was really cool. So it came with a bunch of the Zebra Sensations brush pens, as well as a faber-castell watercolor pencil, a Princeton synthetic sable round brush, which is valued at $7, oh my word, and an M-gram watercolor. The only thing that really hurts me is that brush, because my gosh, in the last Artsnacks video I did, the August box, they also sent me a small round brush, and I mentioned in that video I'm not a fan of small round brushes or any kind of detail brush at all, just because I don't have a steady enough hand to do anything productive with those, and I'm not a huge fan of them. So now I have this tiny brush that's worth $7, so that's a thing. So I did cheat when I was doing my swatches, and the actual illustration I went ahead and did as well, and I used my own brush, which, funny enough, is a Princeton brand brush. It is the Princeton Velveteen? Velvet? What? I have them sitting over here. What are you called? Oh, I grabbed the wrong brush. Oh my gosh. Oh god. Okay, it's the Princeton Velvetouch brush. Those are what I use. I have a bunch of different sizes of them, but oof, $7 for a tiny brush. Moving on, onto the Zebra Sensations brush pens. Those are super nice. I do have a few of the Zebra disposable brush pens. I don't have these ones in particular, but I have gotten, I believe Artsnacks has sent one of the disposable brush pens, and I bought a few off of Jet Pens myself, and I'm a really big fan of those. If you're looking for some cheap brush pens to try out, I would highly recommend them. They have really continuous and consistent ink flow, except the super fine one, I was using it in this illustration, and when I would work really fast, the ink would not be super like consistent in that, so I'm pretty sure that's only with like the super fine one, just because it has such a tiny like nib thing. So otherwise I had no problems with them. And I also found out they are waterproof in this illustration, which I'm sure it says on the actual piece of paper Artsnacks gives you, but I found that out through trial and error, except no error because it didn't bleed, and that would be awful. But anyway, so what I ended up painting was an original character I made very recently, actually. Her name's Rosemary. I didn't really know what to paint for this, and I started drawing a girl, and it turned into her, so I just went ahead and went with it, because colors I ended up getting in this Artsnacks box were yellow and like a yellowy orange, and the only thing I could think of was sunflowers. So I drew her with a bunch of sunflower-like flowers. They don't really look like sunflowers, they're like reminiscent of sunflowers, but that's a-okay. It doesn't really matter. But I actually really enjoyed working on this illustration. It had a lot of products that I was familiar with in that way, because I've worked with brush pens very similar, and obviously I use watercolors quite frequently. The only thing is I don't often use like watercolors when they're wet, like when the actual paint itself is wet. Obviously you have to add water, but like before, like when you squeeze paint out of a tube before that paint dries and then you reactivate it, if that makes sense. I don't often use the paint when the paint is wet. That sounds so weird. It's what, you know what I mean, I hope. But I often, like if I'm using a palette and I squeeze out paints myself, I normally let that dry. So it was kind of weird working with wet paints. Anyway, it's gonna bother me. It sounds weird. But I did have fun doing this. I didn't enjoy actually like outlining the sunflowers just because I feel like it took way longer than I wanted it to. And then the way I filled in her dress with these pens was so time consuming. It took so long to do it. You'll see it later on. But as a whole, it was a really lot of fun. That's what I was going to say. It was a lot of fun to work on. I did cheat with this, as I said before. I did use my own paintbrush, and then I used my own pencil to like sketch it out, I guess. And like I've said in previous videos, I don't erase my pencil before I actually go ahead and like do the finished work. I'm wording things weird. I don't erase my pencil, so I leave it underneath just because I like the way it looks, and plus when you're doing watercolor over it, the pencil I'm using is like the color, pencils, I think that's what they're called. But I normally use those in red or pink, and once you put watercolor over top, it kind of like blends out the pencil and some of the pigment gets in with the watercolor, and it just gives it like a pinkish hue to it almost, and I like that because pink is my favorite color, and so if all of my art is pink, I won't complain. And then towards the end, I kind of looked at it and I thought it needed more yellow, even though it was like all yellow, it needed more yellow. So I went ahead and I blocked out a square in the background, I guess it's technically a rectangle, just to add more color in there, and I'm very glad I did that because I really like how that looks. And then I went ahead and I added some like sparkly stuff, I guess, I don't know what to call them, with the super thin brush, just to say I actually used it because it did come in the box. And then the illustration was done! And I love putting the stickers in my sketchbook. The sticker actually matches. It's black and white, and that technically matches everything, but it kind of matches the pattern on her dress, so we're just gonna pretend it actually matches it. And then it was done. So I really like this box actually. It came with such a variety of supplies, which was really, really awesome because Artsnacks always sends like a lot of different stuff, but it's nice getting a lot of different stuff. I don't know, it just came with like a lot of stuff in the box. I was definitely not expecting how many things came in the box. I know it's not like a ton of stuff, and that brush was valued at $7, which I don't understand. But either way, I was really happy with this box. I'll probably actually use those watercolors, or the single watercolor I guess, over again though because it's really pigmented. It is like a $15 tube of watercolor, which I don't have any fancy watercolors like that, as a matter of fact, so I liked it a lot. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.